Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. How is everyone doing this week? Good morning, Legion Reaver. Good morning, Stafford. Nice to see you. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, OD Green. Red flat week hanging on Nvidia. We shall see. Nvidia earnings are on Wednesday after the close. We have some other pretty key earnings this week, too. Hello, Charles. Are we running out of dip? Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. The 50 EMA has been saving the day. Will it continue or not? Yeah, Berkshire Hathaway took a $4.3 billion stake in Google. Uh, and again, he was building that for a little bit. It was just disclosed, I think, when? Friday evening? Good morning, Daniel. How are you? How are you, Daniel? Alrighty. We got 1 week. Next week is Thanksgiving in the U.S., so we got another full week and then a partial week next week. So let's make this a good week. New York State em, New York Empire State Manufacturing Index 18.7. 18.7. A little bounce up from prior. We got more Fed speak. Yay, what would we do? We got Williams speaking, Jefferson speaking, Cash and Carey speaking, Waller speaking, Logan speaking. Oh, so that's about it. What else we have coming up this week? We have the ADP numbers tomorrow. We have factory orders, Red Book, Bar speaking. Again, everything down at the bottom. We don't know if or when it will be released. Wednesday, we have the EIA numbers. Again, the mortgage stuff as always. And we have our FOMC minutes from the last meeting. Thursday, it looks like on the schedule that there might be the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate from September. Not from October, from September. Okay? So that's where we sit right now. I don't know if we're getting initial or continuing jobless claims. And then Friday, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment, S&P Manufacturing and Services, and of course, more Fed speak. Yay for us. Google still up 3.77%, 3.02% at this point. Amazon, little bouncing. Other chips and the mega caps are red. So that's where we have going into starting the week. There's your comm services. Let's just refresh this comm services. That's based off of Google bouncing. Technology, other than that, is taking it in the shorts. Pretty flat otherwise. Fed watch, 53 for the cut, 46 for, well, 50, let's round down. 53 for the cut, 47 for the pause. In December, fear and greed, still in extreme fear. The markets are crashing. Stock price breath isn't good yet. So, Schiller PE, dirt cheap 39.72. But remember, valuations don't matter anymore. What else do we have? Any thoughts on repo use, steeping? Steeping likely it's said. We'll maybe get into that at some point. Government's open, so you get paid. Good job, Daniel. You're gonna get paid. By the way, have all the Fed members violated the trading rules at this point? I think pretty much. What a joke. What was the last one that came out? Oh boy, I can't remember her name. She was literally trading during the quiet period in short-term trading stuff. This is an absolute joke. What was her name? I blanked out on her name. And then she stepped down over the summer. What? This is an absolute joke. Can we get rid of these clowns? Get rid of it. Please. We don't need this big a clown show. Good morning, Ted. The thing I like about Alphabet is its TVs. Please call it its right name, which is Google. Is its TV services. I used to subscribe to that. Now I'm back on Hulu. Uh, did they get they were going to lose some channels. Did they get that negotiated, Charles? So earnings this week. Not much this morning. Not much this afternoon unless you're interested in trip.com. Tomorrow, Home Depot. That is somewhat important because we get to see those numbers of, and especially how home renovation is going and everything else. Kugler, thank you. Thank you, Jake. It is disgusting. It is completely disgusting. And the other ones that they were literally trading the S&P ahead of numbers. Come on. Clown show, get rid of them. Get rid of all of them. Come up with a rule. Come up with a rule. Hey, Sterling, how you doing? Work got you, huh? How's your hand doing, Sterling? How's your hand doing? What do we got? Wednesday, we got Target, TJ Maxx, Lowe's, NVIDIA, the big one after the close, which is definitely market moving, Palo Alto. Thursday, don't walk away after NVIDIA because Thursday we got Walmart. Walmart's, that can move stuff. So and then it pretty much dies down. It dies down. Unless you're looking at BJ's wholesale on Friday. Alrighty. What else we got here? According to Dan Crenshaw, insider trading is the incentive to get into public service. Yeah. You know what? That whole thing that Dan Crenshaw said was a complete. All right, really? Oh, well, we're not paid enough, so we have to insider trade. Come on. Then don't get into. Okay. That's all I'm saying. They restored ESPN. That's good to know. I'm probably going to convert back over at some point. They made a deal with Disney, a deal with the devil. We'll like to see what YouTube will be like in 2 to 3 years. A hand is healing. I just hate having to wear a brace because always hitting the keyboard. I understand that. Well, you told me it wasn't for super long. I mean, it's not like for months. So let's look at it on the positive side. Okay. We do. It's already been rejected. Friday's high is a percent B buy, by the way. Potential, because it would have to follow through and close above that high. Look at the rejections. The 50 EMA. That's why the 50 EMA is more important than the SMA. It tests out better. I'd have to put up the SMA here to show you the comparison. We got that? Where simple moving average. Hold on. Let's just length 50. And there we go. Style. We're styling. Let's make it what color? Let's make it this color and make it really thick. So they pretty much line up, but the 50 is more, EMA is more responsive. So we could theoretically close under the SMA, but not under the EMA today. Okay. So I want you to go away now. Go away. I'm hitting delete. There we go. So it's a little more responsive and it gives a minor, it tests out better. So I'm watching it today. You don't think we see 27K on NASDAQ? We shall see. We shall still see. We do have a potential double top in the S&P. Keep in mind it is still against the rotation zone, so I'm focusing on the first target area if that does trigger. If it does trigger, we'd need a close below 67.72. 67.72. I'm still going to be watching if we dip below that 50 today. Because also, if we close below that 50, could be, I'll be looking then if we get any front runs potentially for that double. Other than that, if we turn around and rally today, Friday's high. Friday's high is very key. I'll zoom in here. We already got rejected once from that area. If we go back up there, unless we get a buying opportunity before that, and we do not have one yet going into the open, we might develop one like we did. We developed one shortly after the open on Friday, but my live stream's not on then. So I will be watching for stuff again. By the way, if you're looking for a little key area, we're coming right down here. Let me change the color on this. What color should we use? We'll use this color again. There we go. There we go. This is the 50% harmonic. So if we continue to sell off in the open, I'm watching between the 67.35 to 67.19 area for a potential bounce pattern. We've already hit just the 67.35. Now, there is substantial resistance at 67.55. So do keep that in mind. The safer play, if this does rally back up, is look for the 67.55 area to turn back into support. I will be watching in case we close below 67.19. Then I'll be watching closer to Friday's lows. Okay? That's exactly what I'm watching. And then if we close below Friday the 7th lows, the 7th of November, that triggers the little mini double against the rotation zone, so we could see some pullback. We don't have weekly cycles to the bottom. We're technically not oversold yet. NASDAQ, we do have the percent B potential buy. It has to trade above Friday's high and then follow through with a close above that. The key level on the NASDAQ, the key level is right around this 24,990, what is it, 994 area to about 24,901. We're not there yet. We're close. We are close. I love those 50% to 62.5% harmonics. And for the NASDAQ, if you're keeping score at home, it's got to get above 25,100. So below that would be an aggressive bounce play. If it can base starting above 25,100, it gets into, all right, prior support, confirmed resistance at this point, confirmed resistance. So if it gets above there, I'll be watching for that to turn back into support. Well, I don't know if we're getting the rate cut in December. Don't know. It's going to be an interesting end of the year. Remember, I talked about everybody. I'm not saying we're not going to get a year-end rally, but everybody's piling in, even in October, like it was a no-brainer, the no-brainer of the year award. And I use that. So that's why I really like this pullback to continue. Remember, there is no double in the NASDAQ. No double in the NASDAQ. The two key, if we sell off, there's very strong support around 24,400 and then 23,960. The Dow does technically have a double. It was not invalidated. It would have to be below the 50 again. The trigger point for that would be a close below 26 or 46,574, and also still against the weekly rotation zone. I'm not going to go into the Dow's trading against a very key minor support just above this 47,000. So if we start losing that, if 47,000 turns into resistance, I'm watching for a quick return to 46,800, and then we're going to have to watch the potential double. the Russell. Percent B buy again on a trade above Friday's high with a follow through close. Only triggered on a follow through close. I can't stress that enough. And you see here, it's formed this two top pattern, and actually on the 1 hour and its extended basis confirmed a 1 hour little mini double top, not triggered yet. All right. The Russell's been weak, so I'm still looking at the S&P and Nasdaq as the two potential ones. VIX tried to pull back a bit on Friday, back to support that 20 area. Told you that's what's key. Now we're back above that today. So if we start rallying, I'm going to be watching the 20 level in the VIX. What ramifications, if any, do news items like this have on the markets? Turkish lira falls an all-time low against the U.S. dollar. It's not much on our markets. Not much on our markets. Now for Turkey, it matters, but that's not going to have a major. It's not going to like, oh, we're going to buy or sell the S&P in volume based off of the Turkish lira. The DAX. Would you hurry up and reconnect with the 200? The DAX is still caught in this range. The DAX does have a mini potential double bottom within a trading range. So that's the only bullish setup there. Other than that, if we did trade back down, I'd watch how it's going to react closer to 23,500. The notes trying to break back down. Here's the yields. The yields retesting a very key. This 415, 416 area is very key. If it does break through this, watch out on the yields. Okay? Other than that, it's still caught in this big consolidation range. Good morning, Rick. You're late. What happened? Turkey runs on 30% inflation. Could you imagine if this country was at 30% inflation? Interesting else on yields. We're going to jump a little ahead. Look at the 10-year. Japanese. This could get, we sort of took a break, but we've been stair-stepping higher on the yields. There was the initial panic back in March, and then we've been stair-stepping higher. The 30-year also up against a major topping area. This could get interesting. I think the 20-year, what is it, JP20Y? The 20-year is breaking out to new highs. Look at this. This is going back to 2007. But look at this. I'd have to go to another service to get it above to see beyond that. But look at this. There is your 20-year. Your 30-year well above that. And the 10-year approaching. So what this can have some major ripple effects. This one can. Do not ignore the yen. The yen continues to weaken and stair-step higher, approaching the top of the channel line. Remember, closed above 62.5, came back down, caught on the rotation zone, just slowly rotating back up with the magnet price back to 156.50. This one can have a ripple effect. At some point, this can cause things to break. We're not there yet. You jump to dollar index. Dollar index has a little mini 4-hour double bottom that is now officially triggered. So, watching for a potential pop there. Gold does have a mini 4-hour double bottom. This did get into the 75% harmonic range. It would need to get above 411, 4113. 4113 to trigger. All right. And that is for a bounce play only. Very key support, though, right around this 440 area. Silver, this is turning into a triple bottom. Horizontal channel triple bottom. If it does break below there and the silver breaks down, the key level is this 48.85 to 49 area for support. What else do we have? We don't need to get into copper right now. Bitcoin. Look at this. 62.5 from the lows in April to the highs in October. We're right at that 62.5 harmonic. We dipped below it on Friday, but closed above it. I'm paying very close attention to this. We are finally back to oversold levels with cycles hitting the bottom. So I'm starting to look for at least a bounce play. Okay, we don't have a long-term bottom, and yes, it would technically be a %B buy if we close above last week's highs, but that would be a massive rally already. I'm paying very close attention to this area. Bitcoin always tries to bounce at these lows. We shall see. I am looking for all those Bitcoiners. There you go. It's not just rush in to buy for me. I need some kind of pattern. We could easily bounce in the rotation zone, bounce back down, and set up a stronger bottoming pattern. Also keep in mind, 99,000 is the first major resistance level. But I am looking for something. The Spideys still has a potential double top. The Spidey's got to get above 673 again. That's what's key for these little Spideys. Other than that, Friday's lows. I'm just going to be watching also about 668. If we do, we're trading just below we're trading 670 right now, so I need to pull back and look at 668. Technically, above Friday's highs are %B buy in the spiders and in the Qs above Friday's high. Hey, Rossi, you're doing big snores, buddy. You're doing big snores. Tesla triggered the double last Thursday, came back down. Well, by the way, when Tesla or anything else gets this close to a first target, it's lower to stop. So Tesla has pretty much hit the first target for me. By the way, this is also why it's definitely lower to stop as it was against the rotation zone. Do not ignore the ones against the rotation zone. Do not ignore the rotation zone. And also, if it's the rotation zone is not in the way, the first target is stop reduction for me. If it is in the way, generally the first target is also take something off the table. NVIDIA, earnings on Wednesday. Trading against a massive support area right here. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll take another look at this tomorrow and Wednesday just to see if anything else is unfolding there. We got Alphabet, formerly known as Google, which has a %B buy. Now it's gapped away. This had to be sort of traded Friday post-market. But even on if it looks like it's definitely going to close above there today. So any pullback, I'm still paying attention to. Still paying attention to this. Now, this is aggressive because if these lows break, I'm then going to be patient and watch closer to about 255 for the next buy. But this was a little %B buy. Anything else? I mean, other key things we got this week. We had Walmart that did trigger a double, hit that first target, which was stop reduction, and then boop. That's the technical term for what happened. The boop move. Now, Walmart, keep in mind, still trade close to 39 PE ratio. That was for a trade only that got stopped. But bouncing back going into earnings there, technically on Friday, if we close above Friday's highest, a percent beat by bounce play only going into earnings. We got Target. We got the good old Target. Trading in longer term. Trying to carve out a bottom here. If it breaks down on earnings, I'm focusing on 76. 76 going in. You got this little horrible yuck pattern. But I'll be watching to see if we get back above 93. So that's on Thursday. We covered that before. Were you late? On Thursday, we have non-farm payrolls back from September, which isn't going to be a biggie. It's only important for a continuity point of view, and it's a data point, but it's now what? It's pretty old. So yes, we do have that, but it's from the September numbers. Is there a confirmed? Let's look at the S&P. Is there a confirmed 1 hour double? That's there. There was one there. Let me look at the. Yeah, no, it still qualifies. It's confirmed. It would still have to trigger in the next 30 minutes officially. So it's confirmed, and we're still in that magic area. So that's where we sit. You were early. Oh boy, we'll see. All right. Should be an interesting week. Should be an interesting week. So I'm still looking. I'm still watching. Today's going to be critical. Today is going to be critical. Maybe, though, if we don't trigger percent beat buy and we do drop today, we might set up another one potentially for tomorrow. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Either way, this 6,800 level is going to be key. If you're trading the S&P, mark down the 6,800 level. Because if patterns regain that, especially with the momentum, then I'll be looking. And this 50 is key on the close. With that, I will leave everyone. I'll see you all back tomorrow. Have a wonderful trading day and a wonderful trading week if you can't tune in. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.